I have the Bobcat.
Don't you mean the Bobcats?
No. No, no, no. The Bobcat.
Well, we're going to get into that in a second, but first, we have a couple of live shows coming up that we're excited about. This Sunday, we will be in Garrettsville, Ohio at Slim and Jumbo's for the dog walk. Come on out, say hello. We have some giveaways. We'll be live around 11 previewing the Browns Ravens game. And then the following Sunday, we'll be back in Muni Lot. We had a good time last week. We'll be at the front of Muni Lot at the kennel. That's that nice bus that has the face mask on the front of it. So come find us there. That's for the Packers game. We also have a giveaway, Noah.
We do have a giveaway. We are giving away a Browns jersey of your choice. Pick the player. We will give you your size. We will ship it to your door. All you got to do is subscribe and leave a comment to At the Office here on YouTube. And if you haven't already, hit the button, leave a comment, join the conversation. Why aren't you joining the conversation?
Absolutely. Now, to start off the show, you said you have the Bobcat. What did you mean
Yeah.
by that?
Well, I've got a perfect clip to talk about what I mean by this.
Oh no, not my boy Brutus.
I just laugh every time I see this, man. This
First
is
of
the
all, great
greatest.
dodge at first. Like great
Just
juke
hanging
move.
on the back. So for
So
those who don't know,
it looks so scripted watching it back.
oh, it does. For those who don't know, the last time Ohio State and Ohio met in a football game, the Ohio Bobcat, the student in the Bobcat costume, mascot, uniform, whatever you want to call it, jumped Brutus. Unalarmed, unprovoked, just decided that that was what he was going to do. So, Eric, I ask you, what is the betting line going to be for Brutus to get jumped by the Bobcat yet again?
Oh boy, I don't know. I would say the betting line would be like plus 20,000. And the reason that I picked plus 20,000,
You're wrong.
you did okay, what's your betting line?
Minus 1,000. It's happening.
No
It's
chance.
fate.
No
It
chance. And I'll tell you
Ohio
why. Hold
versus
on.
Ohio. Okay,
Let me
go.
tell you why. The student that did that, he wasn't suspended. He wasn't fined. He was expelled from school. He did
Yeah.
not get his degree from OU because of that. So unless they do it as a joke and script it, not happening.
Yeah, hey, I said it was happening. I didn't say how it was happening. I didn't say if we were going to pull up with the WWE stuff and do it that way. It's happening, in my opinion. And I just feel confident about it. It's the funniest moment in what is a nothing rivalry between two schools with our state's name.
I mean, they might as well set that up because it's going to be a slaughter on the field. Obviously, OU, they might stand a chance with their mascot, but they do not with their football team. Here's some of the odds. Ohio State's favored 31.5 points. That might be light, honestly. The over-unders 51.5. I found this interesting. This comes from FanDuel, by the way. First quarter spread, Ohio State favored 7.5, only slightly over a touchdown in the first quarter, which if you watch that Grambling game, they could put up way more than a touchdown. And then just looking forward a little bit for futures, right now, Ohio State's odds to win the conference plus 195. That is the best team in the Big Ten to win the conference at the moment. And the odds to win the national championship plus 600. Again, as far as I know, best team, best odds to win the national championship for a team.
Yeah, this game is interesting. The lines seem kind of short, but then you think about what's going on with both of these teams. And by both of these teams, I really mean Ohio. Ohio University, I got to make sure I keep saying OU or something like that to not confuse the viewers at home. Ohio University did just beat a Power Five team in West Virginia. Now, obviously, not the number one ranked Ohio State Buckeyes, but I do like the fact that they beat a Power Five team because it makes the Buckeyes have to go out there and be honest. They just had that ass whooping on Grambling State. It could feel a little trap game esque. We've seen Ohio State lose some weird games before. I'm not getting too into it. I'm not overhyping a matchup that I think Ohio State is going to deal with. But remember when Akron, who was another MAC school, arguably the worst MAC school, played a close game with Ohio State last year? I'm just saying a close game to a point, I should say, for
I was
Ohio
gonna
State
say,
last year.
no, I don't remember that.
It was like the first half. It was like 14-0, and then they blew the lid off of it. They
With
could do
turnovers, if I
something.
recall.
Yeah.
No, this isn't a trap game. A trap game is Illinois later in the season. This is business will be handled. We'll probably see a steady flow of multiple quarterbacks, maybe the freshman running back again, because this isn't gonna be close. I think 31.5. I think that gives a lot of credit to OU here. And the reason that I say that, yes, they did just take down a Power 5 school, but keep in mind, just from a recruiting standpoint, I mean, when you talk about physicality and size here, the mismatch is so off the charts. The way you win football games like this, or in general, is at the line of scrimmage, and they just can't compete with Ohio State. They don't have the tonnage. So
Okay, so I know this is semantics and we're getting into it. Trap game wasn't the best word for me to use. More so, I mean, it could turn out closer than we expect. We could look a little sloppier than we expect off the top, comparing it yet
sure,
again to that Akron game, which it was 17-3 at halftime, which if you would have asked us going into week one last year, if it would have been 17-3 at halftime against Akron, who was horrible last year, you would have said we were crazy, right?
by your updated definition, sure, the Buckeyes could probably win like 64-30, but they're not. It's not going to be close, I don't think, at any stage here.
Trap game isn't the right word. So we can put that to the side. I will concede that point because that was not the word or the meaning of what I was trying to get after. But this game could be closer than a lot of people expect, especially after what happened with Grambling State. And my main point in all of this is the fact that them beating a Power 5 school makes Ohio State have to handle this a little more seriously than they could have, again, after that Grambling ass whooping.
Sure. I'll say this: there's a reason that West Virginia star running back fled to Ohio State. So apples and oranges, in my opinion. By the way, I do have Brutus in the matchup. He's looking awfully fierce up there on my hat. Let's move on real quick just to talk briefly about what Ohio State plans to do at the stadium, because I thought this was interesting.
Yeah, so they're doing a helmet stripe game where they're making the entire stadium wear gray, except the student section that gets to wear the black, the white, the scarlet, the white, and the black, like the helmet stripe on the Ohio State jersey. And I feel like this has arguably become the biggest talking point for the game because of if the fact that they're even gonna be able to actually coordinate this or not. Do you think it's gonna happen? Do you think it's gonna look sweet, or do you think it's gonna be a jumbled mess?
I think it'll happen. What I don't like about it, I don't like that the rest of the stadium is gray. That
Why not?
doesn't I don't know. You could have had both end zones do the helmet stripe and had still scarlet, or do the helmet stripe on all sides. I don't know. I just don't like the gray. Like in the mock-up that they have there, it just looks very plain. Like a gray out during a day game isn't very
It's not
fun.
a day game,
Or a
it's a
night
7
game. It
PM
is a
game.
night game, yeah. Sorry, I just expect it to be noon for OU. Our one we don't get Fox Big Noon because it's OU, but so we get a night game for this. I hate this. I don't wanna get
Yeah.
into that right actually, I do wanna get into that right now.
We've
Fox Big
had the
Noon
debate.
kickoff, I don't care, we're gonna talk about it again, because Fox Big Noon kickoff is a travesty. It is one of the worst things to hit college football in the history of college football, and I'll stand on that take.
Oh, 100%. We've talked about it at length before. You could go find that episode because Fox Big Noon Kickoff sucks. Fox, in my opinion, is my least favorite out of the broadcast networks in terms of sports. Their score bugs suck. I
Yeah.
don't like them bringing in Dave Portnoy this season.
Yeah, he sucks.
The only bright spot is one Urban
Gus?
Meyer being on there. Oh,
Oh,
Gus too. Yeah,
Gus Johnson.
yeah.
The
No, no,
world
no.
famous I can't do him, but he's so
I was
good.
trying to bury Fox, and now you're giving me reasons to like Fox again. So let's get back on track, though. Do you think that they're going to actually pull this helmet stripe debacle off, or do you think it's just gonna be a jumbled mess?
Well, I wouldn't call it a debacle, but yes, I do think that they'll pull it off. I'm not sure I like it. I'm not sure I care. If they don't pull it off, I'm not even sure that they'll talk about it. But yeah, I think they'll pull it off. Do you?
First of all, it is a debacle because it is the main talking point for a MAC versus number one overall school game. So don't diss the helmet stripe debacle.
A
I'm
debacle is a
kind
negative thing, though.
Yeah, it's a debacle because it's not going to work out.
Okay, why
I
not?
just have a weird feeling that it's going to be one of those things where, in theory, it sounds really cool, but you're asking. I don't mind the gray on the sides. I think it makes sense because you're trying to make the bowl look like the helmet, but you're asking everybody except students to wear gray when a majority of the jerseys that are out there for people to buy are white or red.
Oh,
That's the
see, I
first problem.
disagree with this, or I agree with this part of it. I think gray's the harder ask here.
And then you go to the student section. The student section doesn't bother me as much because that's what you do when you're in a student section. You dress to the theme, you're all the
Mhm.
way in, whether you're in middle school through college. I would say NFL, but the dog pound, you just drink enough beer and then you fit into the dog pound. You know what I mean? So the student section, I don't think is going to be too bad. I think you'll see some flakes of red and black and white where they shouldn't be, but that's to be expected anytime you do something like that. Whereas the rest of the bowl, I don't think is going to look super great, but we'll see. I hope it
Here's
looks sweet. I hope it fits what they're projecting in that mock up.
here's where they screwed up. If you were gonna do this, why not just put T-shirts on every seat?
That's the thing too. I saw that take a lot on the internet of, if you want this to happen, you got to have a giveaway so that way everyone feels the need to do it. But
Which you
as
don't need
a
to pay for, by the way. It's easy to get a sponsor to put their logo on a sleeve or on the back of the shirt and have that done.
Kroger sponsors half the shit in that stadium anyway.
Yeah.
Just get Kroger to do it. Get Huntington to do it. Huntington wants to slap their name on everything sports right now anyway, as I point to Cleveland Browns Stadium. Let's get back to talking about the game though. Julian saying, how long is he going to play in this game?
He'll play a half. I don't think he plays much longer than that. Similar to the Grambling State game, and frankly, I think they saw what they wanted to see out of him in the Grambling State game. They wanted to
I
open up the
agree.
playbook a bit more. There's not a lot to prove here, so if we're up by a lot, I don't think there's much sense in trotting him out there and risking injury. And Ryan Day knows that.
I agree in theory as long as we avoid again like an Akron situation where they come out sloppy or something like that. But I don't expect that from the Buckeyes because of the fact that again they beat a Power 5 team last week. They're on a
Yeah.
little bit of good energy. They are 1-1 right now, but they again beat a Power 5 team.
I I
Boja,
have
go
one
ahead.
one caveat actually to that, and that is I think he'll play the first series of the second half because I think in any game, I think the coach wants to see how you respond to having that break at halftime and how you come out in the second half. So I think the starters will play the first series on both sides of the ball, and then assuming we're up, we'll see the backups.
Yeah, I when you say around halftime, I mean, I assume unless it's like 52 nothing at half that he'll probably come out and play a series or two. So when you say halftime, I kind of just group that all into one line of thinking because
Yeah.
that's typically how it goes before they start filtering in the twos, threes, fours, practice squad, concession guy, student section dude with a Coors Light he snuck in underneath his armpit. Let's talk Bo Jackson though, because he is a fan favorite. He is an at the office favorite because he is a Cleveland kid, and he looked awesome in that Grambling State game.
Yeah, you did.
What do you think he's going to look like? When do you think he's going to start taking snaps in this Ohio University game? And will it be against the Bobcat when he jumps Brutus? Is he going to run out there and give him a tackle?
He might. No, I have Caleb Downs on that bingo sheet to protect Brutus. No, I don't know. This is a tricky one because we talked about Bo Jackson lighting it up last weekend, and he did. He had the most yards of any back, but keep in mind, a part of that was that I think it was a 52-yard run. That's what put him over the top. That
Yeah.
said, the kid has a lot of talent. I say kid because he's a true freshman. There's gonna come a point this season where Ryan Day has to make a very big decision when it comes um, to him, and that is he going to play him enough where he won't be able to redshirt him or not? And I think the answer to that is he will. I think he's gonna eventually become the number 2 back. I don't know who he'll be over, but I just see him taking that role because he looks so explosive and he has it. And if he already has it and he's making an impact, why try to save him? It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, especially in today's day and age of being able to transfer or go to the pro before you graduate. Um, I still lean on the fact that they're going to save him this year and have fun during these games because they have the two-headed beast of upperclassmen right now with CJ Donaldson and co. Um, I'd love to see him play a lot this season. He was exciting, but he's also a true freshman, and you don't want to rush something unless it's truly, truly there. And if it was truly, truly there, I feel like we would have seen him say week one, say the beginning of week two, like we saw Jeremiah Smith all throughout his freshman campaign with the Ohio State Buckeyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was no reason to rush him though. But if he continues to light it up more than the other two, there's also no reason to hold him back either. Um, I think they're gonna
It's a
put the team in the best position to win each week.
It's also an interesting game you play because I think of running backs like car tires almost, where there's tread on it and it's gonna go eventually. There's no way that it's not gonna go.
Not at
Do you
Ohio
want to
State.
start? Well, it's you think further on or whatnot. You hope with injuries and whatnot, but do you want to risk burning up the tread on a true freshman or saving him for when you could use him later on, say next year, the following year, when you don't have what it might be considered a two-headed beast? I feel like that's strong to say after Judkins and Henderson last year, but you know
Right.
what I mean.
No, I think that's the wrong thinking. I think you do this often, and it's not picking on you, but you do it with the Browns all the time. You talk about draft picks and the potential of the future. I don't give a shit about the future. If the Buckeyes are in a position to win another natty this year, then burn through the running backs at a clip that I don't care. Do what you can to win the natty. So I'm not worried about, first of all, he's not going to run down in 4 years. Maybe he has one less year in the NFL. I'm fine with that as a Buckeye fan. But use him if you have him and you think he's going to give you a better shot to win, then you damn well better be using him.
Yeah, but that's part of the job of a coach too, is to worry about load management and worry about when the time is right. Because say you bring him out there, and yes, he's looked good. We're talking about a game against Grambling State. They are an FCS program.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Say he looks good and you bring him out there and you let him play against some of this Big Ten talent or whatever else comes up in the playoffs. And just because of his age, because of his body build, because it's not there yet compared to some of the guys that are ahead of him on the depth chart, he
No,
goes out there and he hurts himself.
I take exception to this. One of the best backs in Ohio State history is Maurice Claret, who was a true freshman when they won the national championship. You can't you can't claim in this instance like, yeah, is his body growing and he's going to be putting on more muscle, etc. But he was weightlifting and all this in high school. I think that's bullshit. You just made the example that Jeremiah Smith was the best football player in
He
college
looks like
as
he's
a
chiseled out of
freshman.
a lab already, though.
But that's my point. So to claim one guy's can't do it because of his age, but another guy can, that's just a bullshit argument.
But that's not true because it's particular to the athlete, right? Like Jeremiah Smith is a one in a million type of player, type of prospect at his age,
Sure.
nonetheless. We're talking about a kid that, yes, we all like, and I'm not discrediting Bo because he is a going to be a fantastic running back, in my opinion. But the thought process of load management is something you have to do as a coach, and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
saying
yeah.
feed them to
Hold
the
on.
wolves every time is not the right answer.
But you keep saying load management like we're not going to use the other two backs. I didn't say we need to give Bo Jackson every single handoff because that's not what we're going to do anyway. I said he could be as a featured back and get more playing time. You still
You pre
have 3 running backs. There's plenty of load management happening.
you predicted
And
him
he's
to
not
jump to
LeBron, he's not 40.
you predicted him to jump to running back number 2. I just don't think that's gonna happen this
I
year
didn't
because of
predict it,
things
I
like that.
said I could see it happening.
You need to roll the tape on that one, brother, but we could get into that at a
I said
different
if he
time.
continues to light it up like he has, I could see him in that running back 2 position, and that's not unprecedented. That happened with the Buckeyes just a couple years ago. It wasn't a true freshman, granted, but we replaced that number 2 back because a guy came in and he looked a whole lot better. So, I think that that possibility exists. Listen, talent will out in this league, just like in the NFL. If the guy's talented enough, let's just say for an example, and I'm not saying this is the case at all, but let's say he lights it up way more than CJ Donaldson. We're going to play him. We're going to play Bo Jackson because he's the better talent. We're not going to save him for a rainy day. We will play the best talent to put us in the best position to win. And I truly believe that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. You go back and forth with it because again, to me, part of your job as a coach is to figure out when is the best time to play a player on top of what else you have going on the roster, and you have those 2 running backs in front of him. So we talked about Bo, unless you got anything
No,
else
no.
on Bo, you wanna
That's
keep
good.
coming at
I
me,
like
that's
him
totally
though.
fine.
I like Lamar
Um,
slash Bo.
Lamar, Bo, Jackson Jr., the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. Um, what else you got, man? What else you thinking for this game?
Not a lot. I mean, I want to see more out of Max Clare again, and us utilizing him at tight end. Jeremiah had his game last week to remind you that he's still Jeremiah. I do still want him to get targets just because, especially after how Arch Manning looked, I think Jeremiah Smith could be in that Heisman running this year. Should be, frankly. He's the best player in college football. So I want him to get the reps just to have that opportunity. I don't care about individual awards, but I think he's so good that he should be up there. And again, Arch was odds-on favorite to start the year, and he's clearly not going to be it. Uh, but yeah, I want to see our defense continue to improve, and to the important thing for me with them is to get those edge rushers home and that linebacking duo home because they haven't put as much pressure as I would have liked to see, especially in week 1 against Texas. Manning had plenty of time on a lot of those. He just couldn't make the throws. So I want to see more from our defense there, but steady as she goes, man. I mean, it's just keep playing football and get ready for some of these bigger games coming up.
Yeah, do you got, like, a score prediction in your mind? I know that's a, fun one considering, we're talking about one of the give me some money and we'll come up to your school type of games right
Yeah.
now. Um, you got a score prediction in mind? Are you gonna say like 92,000 to 10 Buckeyes or something crazy like that, like you would?
No, that's you. I'll give a realistic score prediction. I'll say 56 to 14.
That's funny. There's some picks out there. I pulled some projections. I'm sorry, I don't have my source for this. 49-15 was a prediction out there. I'll go
15. That's weird.
yeah, 15's a weird one. Um, what did you say for 54-14?
56-14.
I'll go 56-14. That's probably
You
sounds
like
about
that?
right in my mind. Well, we'll be in lockstep with that one because I'm not going to take these picks too seriously, not for these weeks. 56-14 sounds good to me. Maybe 49-48 that we missed something. I don't know. But the Buckeyes are going to win soundly here for sure, without a doubt.
Uh, and I will say you gave OU credit off the jump. They were MAC champions last year, an 11-win football team. They are a well-coached football team. I do want to give them credit. And they had that returning dual threat quarterback. What's his name?
Parker Navarro.
Yeah. So I do want to give them credit. Like they're a good football team. You are this is David and Goliath, but David doesn't have a chance. Like you're
Yeah,
going against the machine here. It's like prime Patriots against uh I don't know.
the
I don't have a
Browns.
good example. Yeah,
The
yeah,
Browns of
sure.
that era.
Although the Browns did beat prime Patriots, but you get my point.
100%. One last little baby nugget I want to touch on, a little less football, a little more just media in general. This is a Peacock game.
Yeah.
How dumb does Peacock feel for putting money on this game, having to spend to have it on their broadcasting service, their streaming service?
Well, that's not how that worked, quite. Um, so there's 3 the contract with the Big Ten had 3 services. It had CBS, Fox, and NBC, and it's very specific on how it works. Fox gets that big noon slot, and that's why we bemoan and talk about noon games and the big games being at noon, and it's because Fox is the bulk of that contract. They're the main
Right. Yeah, they're
network.
spending the most money.
And then CBS gets the 3:30, and then NBC Peacock gets the primetime night game, which would go head to head, obviously, with like a ESPN game. But because they're not last choice, but because they're behind Fox, they don't necessarily get that marquee matchup. So it's not that they spent money to get this game. It's just that this game falls to NBC/Peacock in this instance, and they're utilizing Peacock, which I think is actually smart of them because they want to push Peacock and they know that Ohio State, regardless of playing OU, is going to draw an audience.
Yeah, that's fair. I kind of forgot, as I've stepped away from the broadcast world a little bit in my personal life, that that is how that shakes down. Um, but that's a bad matchup. I think they had Michigan State last year for the Peacock game, and now you're getting OU and Ohio State at 7 p.m. trying to get people to click onto your streaming service. When, I mean, you're talking about, yes, it's still a powerhouse at Ohio State, but at least the other matchups are like Big Ten matchups and that kind of thing. We're talking about a game that would, for all intents and purposes, be on Big Ten Network if it fell that certain way.
Yeah, and it'll be really interesting when this contract expires. I'm not sure what it's through. It was massive. It made the Big Ten more money than any other conference. ESPN's deal with the SEC is minuscule in comparison, and that's helped teams like Ohio State or hell, look at Illinois. We talked about them being a trap game this year because they're a good football team. They just have more money because of network power here. But if I had to guess, I think the flexibility and not having Fox be the main head of this 3 network agreement when they renegotiate, things will change a bit, especially as Ohio State's the premier team in this conference. That's the one that every network wants, obviously, uh, for the most part, no matter who they're playing, right? But the biggest games, it's gonna be Ohio State, whether it's Ohio State, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, etcetera,
Right.
and different networks are going to want that share. And Ohio State's going to be very vocal, I think, in wanting more night games, especially for those marquee matchups, because I think students are pissed. I think the university's a little pissed. They're not really liking how it's shaking out. They like the money, but they're not really liking that we're forced to play Texas at noon.
Yeah. I saw an example of a big noon game being played at night, like a game where they're actually doing like the broadcast for big noon kickoff or whatever. And I don't know if it was 100% true. So I'm not quoting it, I'm not using it as a talking point. But if they want to do a game day type of thing so bad, do your game day type of thing. Just let the games be at night. You could
Yeah,
still
which is
keep them.
exactly what ESPN does. I don't know because they do game day and then sometimes they fly to a different city to broadcast that night game. That's a good question. I think it's in the contract though that each network gets those different time slots,
Right.
and that could be why, like, because NBC has the favorite night time spot, they're not able to, and they also have their own contract with Notre Dame that they're able to put a lot of Notre Dame games in that. But you're absolutely right. I don't know why they don't do a big noon, big 7, whatever you wanna call it, night game and just air the night game on Fox because nothing else is on Fox on a Saturday night.
Nothing pertinent at the very
Right.
least. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Fox
I
8 News
agree.
at whatever can wait.
Right, 100%.
I don't know, it'll be interesting, but it's a good problem to have, like, it's not but beyond having fun night games, which we still have some, it's not really hurting us any. The game against Texas, by the way, I saw a lot of reports that the shoe was the most rocking that a lot of people could remember in history, of Ohio State football. So the fans came and showed out, and I'm happy for that because they sometimes get some flack for, catering to the older crowd.
100%. I'm just, rocking and rolling. Like I said earlier this week, I'm ready to get past these cupcake schedules, these give some extra money to help another school out type of games, these tune-up games so we can get back to some competitive football because the itch was scratched in week 1 for me in that Texas matchup. And I want some more hard-hitting, need to care about it, edge of my seat, don't want to check Twitter, don't want to check Facebook, don't want to check Instagram games in my life.
Well, next week's Washington, so that should be an interesting matchup. Getting back to the new Big Ten,
Right.
and it's at Washington, so that one will be pretty fun.
Yeah, can't wait.
Anything else before we get out of here? Because I have one more thing.
What is that?
I just wanted to real quickly show off. Check out my at the office pickleball shirt featuring two pickles playing pickleball.
This guy is plugging the merch that he has yet to put on our website yet
I'm working
again.
on it. We got to
Are
build a
you now?
website. I'm working on. I have some time now, so I'll put some more effort into that.
Fair enough, brother. Fair enough. The shirt looks great though, and hopefully our viewers can buy one soon.
You look great. All right.
Thanks.
The debate never ends, but the show does for now. We'll see you next time.